Hi, everybody. It's time for our week ahead spread for October 27th through November 2nd. Can you believe it's going to be November by the end of the week? I can't wrap my head around that. So, as you can see from the cards here, let me remove this so you can see the cards. There we go, completely. And I think y'all know what I look like. You don't need another picture of me up there, right? So we've got the week ahead spread, and of course, we start out with our three basic questions. What do we need to think about this week? What do we need to do this week? And what is the challenge that we face this week? And so, looking into everything that's happened this past week, as best as I've been able to keep up, being out sick, I wasn't really able to keep up with much of anything. I would catch a news blip here and a news blip there, and it's like, okay. But I started thinking about this as I pulled the cards and started looking at them. And it just really struck me that it's important for us to be positive, to start manifesting what it is we want to see, what it is we want to see in our country, what it is we want to see in our workplace, what it is we want to see in our families. And I think the cards are very clear about this. So let's kind of get going here. First up, what do we need to think about this week? For that, we drew the Nine of Pentacles. Now, basically, the Nine of Pentacles, and of course, this is what we need to think about. And that's important when manifesting, is you have to think it through. And then you have to put it out there. And you have to hold on to that thought and not get deterred from it. And so what came across to me was, especially when looking at this card, is creating a life that we love and that we're proud of, achieving our heart's desire. That encapsulates the whole purpose of manifesting by itself. Creating a life we love. All right. What's going to take us into that area of a life that we love? For me personally, I would like to have all of my rights restored and added to that have been taken away. I would like to be proud of my country and not ashamed. I would like to create the ability to live a little bit easier and not be so strapped for cash every week. It would be nice to not have to literally live paycheck to paycheck and hope you can stretch it long enough to get to the next paycheck. I'd like to be proud of the fact of what I do, of where I live. And I think for the most part I am, but there's a part of me that is deeply ashamed of the direction that our country and a good portion of my fellow Americans have gone in. It's deeply shaming to see the hatred and the vitriol and the bigotry and all of that just come out of people that I always had a lot of respect for. Maybe they didn't follow the same philosophical or political idealism that I did. But I didn't think of them as being hateful bigots. And so that's been a real eye-opener for me, is to see people who I used to have respect for get diminished in my eyes because of the bigotry that they so heartily accept. And that's difficult. It's also a part of achieving our heart's desire. So I had to think about that. All right, what is really my heart's desire? Well, like I said, it's, living in a country that I can be proud of again, having all of my rights restored and added to. I would like to see universal health care. I mean, we seem to be able to give away billions with a B of dollars to other countries so that their people can have universal health care. But we can't do the same for our own people. Make that make sense. It doesn't. I would like to see those who break the law get held accountable and not have their money buy them out of it. I would like to see children everywhere get a good education and not be given something substandard because of their poverty level or what side of the tracks they come from, as the saying goes. I would like to see children be able to have 3 square meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And right now, with the shape that so many are in, and the fact that the government, be it local, state, or federal, is so eager to take away what little bit of help that poverty level people have, what that boils down to is children going hungry. It's like, how can you declare yourself pro-life when you promote and push starving children? Again, it doesn't make sense. The math ain't math. My heart's desire would be not just universal health care and not just children not going hungry and being fed, but it would also be a living wage. No one should have to work for $7.25 an hour. No one, not in any way, shape, or form. You find me a place where somebody can pay rent, pay utilities, buy food, put gas in their car, pay for insurance on $7.25 an hour. It's not possible. It's barely possible on triple that amount. My heart's desire is to quit seeing the top of the top of the top of the rich greedily take more when they already have so much that they'll never spend it in their lifetimes, while taking it away from people who are in desperate need. Why? What does that get you? I'm tired of the lying. So one of my heart's desires is to see our leadership, whether it be work, state, country, family, but to see our leadership actually tell the truth and not lie about things, or not twist things just enough that it sounds like it's going this way when it's actually going that way. It's all part of manifesting. It's all part of what we need to think about this week. And I know it's something I'm going to do, and I'm going to put the challenge out to y'all. Get a piece of paper and sit down by yourself with your morning coffee or your afternoon tea, or, whenever you have time to just kind of be quiet and by yourself and really think about, what are your heart's desires? What is it you truly want to see in your family, in your job, in your city, in your state, in your country, in the world at large? Because whether people want to admit it or not, we are a global affiliation. We're not cut off from one another like it used to be in days gone by. Everything is instant and too easily step over the lines. We're global now, and people need to come to terms with that. All right. So that brings us to the next question. What do we need to do this week? And on that, I drew the Four of Cups. Now, basically, the Four of Cups is talking about depression, feeling pessimistic, being offered something and turning your nose away from it because you weren't happy with the other three cups by your side. I think that's going around a lot right now. Except that most of what we're being offered in that cup is empty promises. So I think what we need to do this week ties into question number one of what we need to think about. That's getting that piece of paper and sitting down, writing down, what do you want to see your world look like today, tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now? Even though we won't be around, what will our grandchildren have? So I think that's part of what we need to do this week, is to start thinking long term. Yeah, it's important to think in terms of the immediate future, the right now. But we also have to stop and think about the future. What are we doing to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren? Is it going to make their lives better or worse? Well, there'll come a day when they will curse us in our graves because we didn't do what was necessary to provide for them in the future. That's a serious thing to contemplate. So I think that part of what we need to do this week is to focus on an idealized concept that doesn't quite exist yet. Maybe there's been little hints, little glimmers of it here and there, but it doesn't exist yet. People should be able to love who they love, regardless of their gender, or their race, or their religion. People should be able to practice whatever faith they want to practice, regardless of what the next door neighbor does. That's a personal thing. It's nobody else's business. I think that if we start focusing on these idealized concepts, we get that piece of paper out, we start writing it out. This is what I want to manifest. This is how I want to see my family, my city, my state, my country, my world be. And I think if enough of us start doing that, don't think of the negative, focus on the positive. What do you want to see happen? We can make real change in this world. All right, lastly, we have, what is the challenge that we face this week? And that is the Ace of Wands. Now, the Ace of Wands stands for new beginnings, growth, new opportunities, new ideas. It's a newness. It's all right there. Just out of reach, but it's right there. Excuse me. The Ace of Wands tells us that it's right there, waiting for us to reach out and grab it. And I think that's part of our challenge this week, is to not only think about it, not only sit down and make a list about it, but to face the challenge of bringing it into being. That's our challenge. How do we embrace new concepts? Do we have the attitude of, oh God, I got to learn something new again? Or do we have the attitude of, oh, something new to learn. Let's see what I'm going to find out today. Big difference. Same result. Well, maybe not the same result, but the same action. But a big difference in how you approach it. And I think that's very important right now for what it is that we're being challenged with. The ideas, the thoughts, the desire to move forward, to make this a more loving and accepting world. Again, it's right there. It's just, you can see it almost. It's just that close. Our challenge is to reach out and accept it. Push for it, strive for it, work for it. Insist that others work for it. Now, their vision may not be exactly like your vision, and that's okay. Both visions can exist hand in hand next to each other without it hurting the other. That's our mistake, is we get tied up in this, it's my way or the highway. Or if you don't talk like me or think like me or worship like me or love like me, then you're wrong and I'm right and there's no in between. No. Our challenge is the new concepts, the new opportunities of realizing that it doesn't matter where we're different or where we're the same. What matters is that we work towards absolute acceptance and love for one another. That's what's important. And that's our challenge. That's what we have to work on this week, is how do we love one another? How do we embrace one another? How do we accept one another, regardless of our skin color or what church we go to, or if we go to church at all, regardless of what gender we are, regardless of what kind of relationship we're in. Are we in a heterosexual relationship? Or are we in a homosexual relationship? What difference does it make? Nobody is knocking on your door forcing you to be one or the other. That's one of the lies that gets perpetrated. It's embracing the fact that we each have the capacity and the ability to love each other and to accept each other. regardless of whether we believe in it or not. So is that couple that lives next door to you different? How does their difference affect you? Are they knocking on your door insisting that you have to end your way of being and live their way of being? No, that doesn't happen. Well, it does happen, but that usually comes from the really religious bigots that say everybody has to cookie cutter, look, think, say, breathe, act the same. Who wants to be like that? No. True joy comes when we openly accept and love and honor each other without insisting that they be a cookie cutter exactly like us. When we reach that point, that's when we're going to start seeing things change. When we start openly embracing and loving one another regardless. That's the biggest challenge that we can face at any time. But that seems to be the challenge that Divine Source is pointing out to us for this week. So there are your three cards. You got the Nine of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. Make use of it. Put it into action. Learn to love your neighbor. As Mr. Rogers used to say, look for the helpers. They're always there. And then join them and start helping yourself. Quit punishing children because their parents have made bad decisions or have had bad things happen that they had no control over, that then puts them in a bad situation. Quit punishing someone because their family looks different than your family. Does it matter? Is anyone forcing you to be exactly like them? Or are you trying to force them to be exactly like you? Reach out and love one another. Embrace one another. Accept one another for exactly who we each are. No questions, no limitations, no insistence that they be exactly like us. When we get to that point, we're going to find ourselves happier, more joyful, freer, with the ability to share and enjoy each other's company just because we're around each other. All right. Y'all go out, make it a great week this week. Okay? See if I can get rid of the pop-ups so I can get out of here. They go up faster and faster and faster. All right. Y'all go out. Make it a good week this week. Start manifesting that better life for all of us. Y'all have a good one. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.